So what does it take to reclaim our birthright? Why we were born was to come incarnate into these bodies and work through our karma in order to remember who we really are. Our birthright is to live in joy and passion and be the creators that we are destined to be, to create a new world that's not run by fear and greed and all the lower vibrations. We're here to live in our hearts, fully trusting in that which moves everything, not worried about survival, not worried about anything really, because who we really are is eternal. Who we really are is not attached to the me of this lifetime. We get to reconnect with that, our soul essence, our original blueprint that is free, that is loving, that is joyous, that feels connected to everything and everyone, and feels compassionate for the human condition. So this is what we're here to discover, and it takes, first of all, a desire to know ourselves, to reclaim this birthright, to return to our original self, and an understanding that we've been born into deep conditioning. The time here on the planet is perhaps the most contrasting of dark and light, and so all of us that are alive today were born into distorted programming, mental programming that keeps us away from our pure, beautiful, innocent, joyous, abundant selves. It's just a fact. So to recognize, first of all, I am conditioned and I want to be free from this, and I want to know my original nature. That's like the first step, and to be devoted to that mission above everything else, because every other pursuit, whether it's for the right job or the right relationship, anything outside of ourselves is just a way for our soul to wear down the external desires so that we can be worn down into this place of like, all right, nothing outside is making me happy. Let me open up to something inside. Let me open up to going inside and discovering what that means. And so when we turn towards this true purpose that we're all here to discover, when our hearts are passionate and devoted to this mission of returning home and discovering the light inside, that we have everything we need inside, that turning is the moment that everything starts to rise up. And this is happening on a grand scale right now, because there's so much light, so many light coming into the planet to shift us into the new paradigm, to creating the new earth. There's a lot coming up. And this simple desire to know ourselves and to reclaim our light will start to play our lives in a way, it will start to play our movie in a way that brings up this stuff. So what I really want to say is that the inner authority, everyone has a inner authority. And this is really key to reclaiming your sovereignty, as not needing anything or anyone to make any decisions for you. It's called sovereignty, and what that means is alignment with your higher self. That gives you everything you need and helps you navigate through life. It's a body awareness, and this inner authority comes from a deeper place than the mind. And so when we start to follow that rather than the mind, this is when the greatest deconditioning starts to happen, and it's can get really intense. So I want to give an example. One of the conditionings that I had was to go with the flow, and to please other people. It's Pluto and Libra. And so a huge turning point came when my dear mom, had her 60th birthday party. And it was a big deal. She was throwing herself a party, and she was inviting all the relatives to come in, and it was going to be a big celebration. And so, of course, I knew this was coming. And at the same time, I was at this huge point in my journey of everything was rising to the surface, and it was just intense. My body was absolutely debilitated most of the time from fatigue, and life felt overwhelming, and there was no way I wanted to go to a party to be around a lot of people. I'm super sensitive, and that's one of the things I've realized is how incredibly sensitive I am. But because my body was so tired, it was like the beloved was giving me this gift, that there was not a cell in my body that said, I can go to this party. And I had to tell her that, and it was huge because, of course, she was hurt by it and didn't understand it. And so she was playing a role of reflecting back to me where I was still conditioned to please other people and go with other people, and where there was this turning point of really following my heart about what was true for me, regardless of what everyone wanted me to do. And it was really hard because she was hurt and didn't understand, and there was an accusation, which I've gotten a lot, of being selfish. And this will come up if you start following your authority. Others will see you as selfish, and this is just one of the lower vibrations. It's a programming of the collective consciousness that tries to keep us going along with everything else. We're not here to go with the flow anymore. The flow is not working. We're here to create a new flow, create a new paradigm. And stepping out of the old flow, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of courage, and it takes a willingness to receive these denser programmings. And so I received all these projections, and psychically I was totally open to projection, so I could feel the whole family's projections. Not everybody was judging me, but a lot of the family was, because I had to step away from my family. I had to step away from a lot of things in life in order to reclaim this sense of my own direction, because I was so conditioned to just go with the flow, do what everyone else wants me to do, and just, we've got a lot of collective conditioning to make, get a job, work really hard, do the thing you need to do to make money and survive and have the kids and have the house and just all this, like, it's just flat. It's flat living. It's a flat life. We're not raised to follow our hearts and do what makes us feel alive. Most of us aren't. I wasn't, for sure. It's just what we've been marinating in. And so I tell this story just to help encourage you if you're at this point of like, wait a second, this doesn't feel right anymore. This relationship, this job, anytime we're triggered by life, and let's say there's so many triggers that can be happening right now. The injustice in the world and the chaos in the world, our conflict in relationship, our feeling stuck in our job, feeling stuck in life, feeling unseen and unheard, feeling betrayed or rejected, feeling all alone, just feeling hopelessness for the world, feeling really, all the pain of all the animal cruelty. These are things that I've felt, and there's been cycles of these. Feeling like I have no direction and I have no gift to offer the world, feeling stupid, incompetent, insecure, doubting myself, judging other people, judging myself, all of these things. And these are not personal. It's like, it feels so personal when we're triggered, but these are all the old programs of humanity that we've been living in for thousands of years. And so if you're pointed in this direction of truth and wanting to be free and reclaim your sovereignty, you're going to come up against all these darker things. And the key is to not react. The choice we have when we are triggered is to not point the finger. And we will point our finger because that's the habit. That's what the mind is programmed to do. That's what the ego is programmed to do, to say, if I can change it out there, if I can change that person, if I can just convince that person that they're wrong and I'm right, then I'll feel happy again. Well, that's not the case. It's the opposite of what the mind is telling us. It's to receive the feelings of whatever is coming up. And in that ability to be humble and to be softened and to be cracked open by what brings us pain, then our heart starts to open. Then we are able to receive more love. And this is really huge. It takes a lot of, passion for truth. It takes a lot of cycles of pain and suffering to finally see, wait a second, I'm distracting myself, I'm doing everything but feeling my feelings. It's an inside job. We hear this, but it takes quite a lot of wearing down to really get it, where our partner is doing something we do not like. And I've just been through this, and they're acting like a freaking what is the big word? Narcissist, right? So we want to say they're a narcissist and they're whatever, this and that. But that's all a bypass, because yes, they may be a narcissist. It's possible. But the real transformation, the way we transform our dream, our movie, the way the outside movie transforms into beauty and love and connection and passion, is by going inside. So this person is making me feel awful. Okay, go inside. This is all old. It's from childhood. It's from past lives. And so we sit and we stop. We stop running, we stop distracting, we stop numbing, and we say, okay, finally, I'm ready to meet this. What is this? What is this feeling? And the most profound transformation has been with a guide for me, with doing this shamanic hypnotherapy work, of being guided by this man named Randy Hold is the one that I know that does this, and he's very good at what he does. And he guides you into the body, and then to the feeling, and then to your innocence, to connect with that child inside where it all began. The child inside that felt all these things and didn't know how to process it. And so in order to survive, we protected our hearts, and we hardened our hearts against life and against others. And it dulled our ability to live joyously and freely. And so we have to go back. It's like a rewinding process. We go back, we meet that little one in their innocence. And when we can meet our own innocence, we can also see the innocence in others. We can see that it's all being played by our soul, so that we can feel these feelings, that we can process what was never processed, reparent ourselves. This is very key, to see that whatever we concluded in our childhood about our environment, about ourselves, what we concluded about ourselves, that I'm not enough, that there's something wrong with me, and every ego has this, that was false. That was not true. We need to reparent that little one inside, because that is playing in our psyche, and that is creating our external reality. And until we meet that, the same patterns will cycle again and again, because love is trying to bring us home. Love is trying to bring us home to our beauty and our innocence. And so if you're triggered by the injustices in the world, it's not to try to get on Facebook and prove your opinion, or try to join a mission that's going to change the world out there. It's actually first to meet those feelings of hopelessness, despair, nothing's working. All of that is like, it's so beautiful when we have the ability to do this. I mean, it's cracked my heart open and made me meet these places that feel like I'm gonna die, really, and make me feel so fragile and so vulnerable. But it's so precious, because we are all so precious. We are all so sensitive. When we start allowing our hearts to be cracked open by life, we are all so sensitive, and we always have been. It's just life, hardened us and made us have these strong opinions about other people in life, and how we had to survive and get things and push for things and effort. None of that's real. None of that's true. It's like life is here to be enjoyed and playful and flowing and ease-filled, and that's who we are, and that's the possibility. And I just wanted to send this message because I was sharing with a friend this morning that when we start to really follow our inner authority, all the dark programming will come up. So following my authority, not going to my mother's party, so much guilt and so much shame came up. It was like weeks of it, and feeling like my whole body was like, my whole nervous system went through like feeling like I was dying. Really, if it was it is a death process, because it's the dying of the old way of being, the dying of the ego, and the ego makes it feel like you're dying when you're challenging it. And so it's not easy, but these things will come and they're on their way out. You know, it takes a few cycles of feeling it, but standing in this trust and faith that you are a light worker and that you are here to be free and to be happy and to only need this inner authority. That is your birthright. Stand firm in that knowingness and settle into presence as much as you can, the awareness, presence that's watching the play unfold and watching yourself, and to have this like deep love and compassion for yourself first, to just say, oh my gosh, yes, it was painful. Yes, it is painful to be alive. Feeling so stuck, feeling so small, but it's only temporary. Like the more we allow ourselves to feel these feelings and be softened, it's really about softening, opening, loving yourself, loving and realizing that you're innocent and that the world is not against you. The world is here to reflect what is still unmet inside. There's no outside, it's just all a reflection. And so all the players will play the roles that will trigger us in order to help us grow in our strength and power and conviction to know that we are love. We are loved and we are the love and we are eternal. And this is all just a wild dream and it's exciting. It's so worth it. It's so worth it. Instead of pointing the finger outside, just be like, okay, I'm gonna meet this. What is this? What is this feeling? It sucks. But I'm gonna love it. I'm gonna welcome it and I'm gonna love it. I'm gonna let it burn away. I'm gonna let it burn this conditioning away. Pew, pew. You can do it. Love to you, my fellow companions on the journey home.